Hello, my friend, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Fool Writes Again, the podcast where I, Jinx, your host and imaginary friend, answers the burning question of what happens when you release a writer into the wild and he gets a chance to explore the world. So if you've ever been interested in topics such as plot development, world building, character creation, or even character motivation, then this is the podcast for you, so please stay tuned. And on this week's exciting episode, I'm going to answer what happens when a writer gets the chance to have a day off. And what better way to do that than start off with a couple scenarios. First one being this. Imagine you're an adult individual who finally has some free time. You've accomplished all your errands, you've gone to the store, bought your groceries, you've done your laundry, you've cleaned your house, you've done any additional work you need to do, and you actually have a chance to relax. And you are looking for something to do. And while you're trying to think about what to do, one of your friends calls you up and says, "Hey, I'm interested in going to the bars tonight. I know a really good one down the street that just opened up. It has a mechanical bull. There's karaoke there. You can even learn some line dancing. And it's just a good nature environment. Are you interested in going?" And you think about it. You're not against it because you do like going to the bars and you like all those things. You like hitting the mechanical bull. You like line dancing and you like karaoke. Even if you're not good at it, you like listening to everyone else. You don't have an answer quite yet because you're still thinking. So you tell your buddy, "I'll get back to you." And almost immediately after that call ends, another buddy calls and says, "Hey, there's an art festival going on in town. It's an all-day event and I know you like art. Are you interested in going? I heard there's going to be some pretty cool stuff. A lot of pottery, some do-it-yourself classes, aerial artists, music, all that sort of stuff." And you think to yourself, I really do like this stuff. I like supporting the local artists. I like listening to live music. And there is definitely a pottery dish I need to buy as a gift for someone. And you think this could be a really good way to spend the day. But it's super hot out. Do I really want to go outside and enjoy and suffer in 106-degree weather? Or do I want to do something else? And you tell your buddy that you'll think on it. You're not fully committed to it. You're not fully against it. But you'll get back to him. He says okay. So as soon as that call ends, another buddy calls you. And this one says, "Hey man, I just picked up the new copy of this fighting game, of this first-person shooter. And I hear it's super fun. The campaign's supposed to be super long. It's supposed to actually be a multiplayer campaign that you can play offline. But I also heard that the online aspect of it is great as well. Are you interested in playing? You can pull over your TV and we can just have a game party. Couple TVs set up in the living room. Couple buddies here just playing video games all day, enjoying it, talking crap to each other, getting owned by everyone online. What do you think?" And you think to yourself, it's been a long time since I've actually got a chance to play a video game. And this is a game I've really wanted to play. I've loved every entry in the series, and this one is supposed to bring it back to its roots. But do you really want to be cooped up inside all day? Video games are fun and stuff, but is this the type of event you want to do? Is this how you want to spend your freedom? You finally have a day off and you can actually go out and explore. But you've said before that you don't play video games because you don't have a lot of time because you're busy doing other things. So, is a video game the answer to do? You're not fully sure and you tell your buddy you'll think on it and you'll get back to him later. He says okay. Let him know. And as soon as that call ends, your fourth buddy calls you and he says, "Hey man, I know it's very last minute, but I just picked up a new side-by-side ATV and I really want to go try it out. And from all the things I've read, there's a really good trail not too far from here. Are you interested in going? And don't worry, I know you don't have one, but you can ride with me." And you think to yourself, that really does sound like a fun time. It's outside, you're driving along, so it's not super hot out. You get to explore nature, check out these different trails, hang out with a buddy, see his new toy and all that stuff, and you're almost convinced about it. But you also know that it's been super hot out, so it's super dusty. And you're not convinced you want to be covered in that much dust. Plus, it's very last minute, so you don't really have a chance to pack too many snacks along the way. And being the weekend, it could be a really crowded trail. Are you sure you want to deal with all of that? You tell him you'll think on it and get back to him soon. And he says okay, just let him know. And as soon as that call and you actually have a chance to think on what you want to do. And out of all four friends that call you up, who do you choose to hang out with? And what happens next? Well, that's enough for the scenario. So let's move on to the story behind it. There really isn't too much of a story behind this scenario. It's basically an example of how a lot of my weekends go, though. I get free time and I try to figure out what happens with it. And I never fully commit to anything because I'm always waiting for something else to happen. I don't want to pass up a fantastic opportunity until I know what all my opportunities are. And yes, this has hurt me before, and I've missed super fun things waiting for another opportunity to arrive that never comes. But it gives me the chance to be very fluid. That being said, these are all more or less activities I've done over the last month. I've gone to a Western bar with a friend to go line dancing, karaoke, and ride a mechanical bull. It's a super fun time. I don't go often, so it's nice to go and get out to the bar and just enjoy life. Have a couple beers with friends, learn a new line dance, meet a lot of random people, karaoke, whether I sing something or just watch everyone else sing something. In fact, the last time I went was super weird because a person sang a song that really should not have been sang in karaoke, and it chased out most people from the room. I was dumb enough to stay. So as soon as the person finished singing, he immediately walked me off the stage. And it took a long time for me to run away from and hide from him in the bar. Not the best experience with that, but it gave me a story to tell. And if I hadn't gone to the bar, I would never have that story. I will say it is not stopping me from going back to that bar. It will instead teach me to make an exit when I can, hopefully. I'll probably do stupid things again and be stuck in the room being chased by some weird dude singing a weird song. But whatever, gives me another story. But I've also gone to an art festival. In my area, there are a lot of art festivals throughout summer. So I've been to a couple different ones within a span of months. And they're all pretty similar. I go support all the local artists. I stop by the stages so I can listen to the music, whether it's a local high school band putting on something or a trio of gentlemen who have been playing for years and they're finally getting their name out there. I want to support it all because I like live music and I like supporting artists, especially local artists who are just trying to get their name out there. And I'm never really looking for anything in particular when I go to the art festivals. I just want to walk around and see what's available. Oftentimes I come home with a lot of wall art and other things. I will say the last art festival I went to, I was looking for pottery because I need to find a butter dish for someone as a gift. It's amusing to me because the first art festival I went to, I looked at butter dishes and I'm like, okay, these are pretty cool and I can get it as a gift for someone. And I'm thinking, okay, they would never actually use it. They don't want a butter dish. And I came home after that, and the very same day, that person told me, I would like a butter dish. And I'm thinking, I messed up. I really should have just bought the dish. And I told them so, that I was looking at them and I was under the impression you would never actually use it. And they're like, my bad. Whatever, I learned. And I'm looking for them now. So the next art festival I went to, I specifically looked at the pottery for a butter dish. And they had all sorts of pottery. But what did they not have? You guessed it, a butter dish. So I'm still on the lookout for a butter dish. We'll see if I find one. I have faith I will. I just don't know what art festival it'll be at. I have another one coming up in a couple weeks. I'm going to try there. But that's a story for another day. The fourth scenario in there, the fourth buddy offering the ATV ride, you guessed it, I've gone on a side-by-side ride a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. I changed the scenario a little bit because I have my own side-by-side and my buddy has his own. Yes, one of my buddies just bought a new one and he wanted to test it out, but most everyone in my friend group has their own, so we can convoy around and just drive our own toys up the trails. The trails I went down happened to be very empty. I went during an off time and to a more removed location, and we encountered very few people. It was nice. We can ride wherever we wanted to, but it was very hot and it was very dusty. So after every ride, I definitely wanted a shower. And as soon as I stepped in the shower, there was so much dust on me that it was basically just mud falling off of me at that point. But I knew about these rides in advance, so I was able to pack accordingly and pack snacks for my hour-long rides. And I really like ATV rides. As for the final scenario in there, the video games. This one is not as relevant to me because I don't really play games. I get inclined to play them every once in a while, and I'll stop for a weekend and play Resident Evil and speed run it and get my fix for the next couple months. But when I was growing up in school, me and my cousins would do video game parties. We would play Halo, and someone would bring a TV to someone else's house, and we would set up several consoles so we could just all play in the same room. We might be online, but we're all playing together on our own screens, on our own systems, playing the same game, and it was great. They were fun parties and everything like that. And those parties we would frequently play till 2 in the morning because time was irrelevant to us at that point, and we just had freedom. But now it really has hit the point where I'm usually busy doing a whole bunch of other things that I don't have as much time to play games. I don't have as much time for all of my hobbies anymore because I actually have a lot of hobbies, and I have to prioritize and pick and choose what I want to do that weekend. Which one's easier to do, which one's quieter to do, which one do I need better weather for, which one I can do indoors, which one do I need other people. So there are a lot of hobbies, which kind of led me to this episode in general. Well, I'm currently in the planning stages of a new story, and I'm trying to get a couple of my main characters figured. I've fallen into the hole of liking lit RPGs, and I've binged a lot of lit RPG stories over the last couple of months, and I'm going to try my hand at writing one. So I've been trying to figure out who my main cast is in them. And one of the common things I've figured out in lit RPGs is a lot of character personality for them spans from the character's hobbies and what they like to do. Their skill set is based on some of their hobbies. The way they talk to each other is based on their hobbies and their lingo and stuff like that. And that led me to think, what kind of hobbies do I want my characters to have? If my main character has free time, what does he do? How does he kill that time? Does he go home and go to the bar? Does he go home and play video games because he bought a new game and he pre-orders every single new game that comes out? And his house is just lined floor to ceiling, wall to wall with video games, and he has every console that he can because that is his ultimate hobby, is just playing video games, and he gets the chance to do it very rarely. But when he does, he wants to be able to play fun games. If this is his hobby, also, how social is he? Does he only play the video games that are single player offline because he doesn't like to communicate with others online? Or is he only an online gamer and talks a lot of trash to all the other people online? In a story, that kind of affects how your character is too. Is he charismatic? Or if he only playing single player offline games because he is so antisocial, he doesn't want to meet other people in the real world and he's trying to hide away. In that case, does your character display that if he gets trapped in a video game? Does he try to go solo and avoid groups of people because he doesn't want to do the massive raid with others because he's scared to talk to them? Or is your character the one that's always doing online gaming and talking trash to each other? That also has another dynamic in there too. Does he only talk trash because he knows he's hidden behind a microphone and that everyone he's talking to actually doesn't know who he is? So if he gets put in a real situation where he's gaming with other people, does he talk as much crap to each other because he's not worried about it? Or does he not because he's worried he's going to get hit by someone and that scares him? That creates an interesting dynamic with a character too. How does he act based in his hobby versus in real life? But it leads to the other questions. What other hobbies does your character have? Does he like to line dance? Does he like to sing? Is he good at singing? Is he not good at singing? I know people who absolutely love karaoke, and every time they go, they sing a couple different songs at the bar because they like it. But I also know a couple people who hate karaoke, and whenever karaoke comes up, they always find something else to do, and they avoid that bar because they don't want to go listen to people sing, or they don't want to be forced to sing. That's their prerogative. That plays into characters too. How does your character react to karaoke? How does your character react to certain interests? Does he run away from them? Does he embrace them? If his entire friend group likes karaoke and he doesn't, does he still have much of a friend group later? Because they're always going to karaoke and he runs away every single time. And now they stopped inviting him because they know he won't go. A lot of options there too. How about, is your friend interested in ATVs and UTVs and side-by-sides and all that stuff? Does he always want to go riding? And he's trying to travel everywhere else to go riding, so he's driving, 30 minutes to the trail close to him, an hour to a trail that's slightly farther. The next state over because he heard there's a really great trail system over there. The other side of the country because he wants to go riding through a national park. Lots of options there, and that goes to show that your friend might not always be home often. Your character might not be there either. If his hobby is ATVs, generally you spend a lot of money on ATVs, so you want to use it. And that kind of takes priority over a lot of other hobbies because I spend 20 grand on a side-by-side. I want to drive it. And driving it once a year is not worth it to me. I want to be able to take it every weekend. So I go to the sand dunes one weekend. I go down south for rock crawling another weekend, or I'll go to a national park so I can explore there, or all these different things. Your character might not have time to do a lot of other things, so he has to pick and choose on what his hobby is. Is he willing to make a whole new friend group because he found a fun riding group, a whole bunch of people that have ATVs, so they go out every weekend exploring and they just convoy across the country and across the state because there's good riding trails? Or does your character go solo because no one around him likes to ride and he's the oddball out that grew up in a state riding, now he moves somewhere else that they don't ride, but he still brought his ATV with him and he's going to go riding when he can, even if that means by himself? Or does your character not really care for all the odd, typical hobbies and he just wants to go out and pretty much shop and look at art and support local artists? Because an art festival really is just shopping. A whole bunch of local artists created stuff, and now they have a booth in a communal area that everyone comes by and buys their stuff. And it's just shopping. Yes, there's live music around, and yes, there's other performances around, but it's just a shopping experience. So your main character's hobby really is supporting artists and shopping. A character like that doesn't necessarily mind spending money, but he also doesn't really want to go support the big name stores out there and doesn't want to do online shopping because that's too generalized. Going to an art festival, you might meet the artists themselves and get something unique that you would never find anywhere else. And maybe you find something you don't know you actually want, such as a butter dish. If you didn't go looking through an art festival just browsing around, you may have never known a butter dish actually existed and how cool they were. And so you would never look for them online because it was never in your mind. But if you're in a art festival where it's just there, you're like, huh, what is this? Oh, it's a butter dish. We eat a lot of corn on the cob, so a butter dish would be fantastic to have. This would make a good gift for someone. You may never come across that idea. So your character likes to look through things and he likes to shop, but it gives him a more unique perspective on things too. But as I was saying earlier, a character's hobbies definitely influence how they act around others, and it's worthwhile to include it in there. Not every character is going to have the exact same hobby, and that means some characters will avoid other characters because they're doing opposite things. I had a friend group at one point that didn't drink, and I drank occasionally. It was to the point where I suggested we go to a bar one night, and they ended up creating a new group chat without me in it because they didn't want to go drinking, and apparently people were suggesting it too much, so they kicked every drinker out of the group. That's an interesting dynamic in a story. What happens if your character gets kicked out of the group unknowingly because they have a hobby that everyone else doesn't like? And yes, I use it as drinking, but it could be pretty much anything else. It could be video games. If people don't want to play video games every weekend, the ones who don't want to play are going to create a new group and try to find new people to hang out with. Same thing for board games, same thing for art festivals or concerts or drinking or anything like that. If people don't have the same interests, they tend to stop hanging out quite so frequently. But if people have the same interests, they hang out more often and they can talk about it more frequently. And if you throw that into a story and all your characters have different hobbies, that creates a interesting dynamic on how they interact with each other and the world around them. How do they talk to each other? How do they talk to others? Are they more excited to talk to people with the same hobby as them? Or do they get tired of talking about their hobby to people who don't understand it? As a writer, I know I get tired of talking about writing to people who don't write. Because questions are always the same. What is your story about? Where can I read it? Can I be a character in it? But if I talk to other writers, it's easier to talk about. What plot devices are you using? How's your world building going along? What kind of character creation are you doing? Who do you go to for tips on some of this stuff? It's easier to talk to people with the same hobbies, and it's exhausting to talk to people without the same hobbies. Play that into your characters. Play that into your story, and you can get, again, a interesting dynamic. This is also not to say that a character has to only have one hobby. Characters can have lots of hobbies. As I explained earlier, every hobby in that scenario is my hobby. All four of those are things I do. I go to the bars. I go ride trails with my side-by-side. I go play video games. I go to art festivals and other types of festivals. So your character doesn't have to be limited to one hobby either. They can do lots of different things. They can explore the world around them. In fact, giving your character multiple hobbies like that also creates a unique dynamic. What would your character choose to do instead on his free day? Does your character always go to the bar so when someone else asks him to go to a concert, he chooses to do that? Or is your character so used to going riding with a side-by-side that when someone gives the opportunity to go to an art festival, he's like, this could be a good change of pace. I don't have to spend as much money on gas this weekend. I can go look at art and listen to music. Or is your bar-going friend happy to go do something else so he doesn't have to try to find an Uber because he got so drunk at a bar? The dynamic's there. Maybe a character is so interested in a person they met at a bar, that they try a new hobby just to get closer to the other person. Now you have some romantic interests going on. What happens in that situation? You have a lot of opportunities for a lot of different things just based on what your character's hobbies are. But I can keep going on and on about this, though I feel like if I do, it's going to start getting dull and boring, and you're going to probably just turn me off. So I think it's a good time to call it a day. Though before I do, I have a writing prompt for you. Write a story about an individual who tries a new hobby and realizes they don't like it. I don't care the genre, whether it's horror, fantasy, romance, action. And I don't care the format, whether it's poetry, flash fiction, a journal entry, or even a song. As always, all I really care about is you have fun with it and make the most out of it. But now it really is time for me to call it an episode. So if you like the content of this week's episode, give me a follow. And if you want any more content from the Jinks'd world, visit my website at jinksdworld.com. That is JINKSDWORLD.com. Until next time, have fun writing.